Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and we made it! 10,000 subscribers! Yay! Today, I'm going to take one of our patron suggestions to do two things, actually. First is I'm going to turn some foam board and a old model that you like the silhouette of into a bronze statue that you can use in your games. And I'm going to answer the burning question, what got me into gaming? So the very first thing I need to do is cut out my foam board, and I cut out a piece that was about 1 inch wide and another piece that is about 1.5 inch wide. That is really dependent on the size of your miniature. Now that I have them cut up, I am using some glue, some hot glue, to bind them together. And I'm not being particularly precise, just looking, it's close enough. And if it turns out there's a small amount of space in between your pieces because the glue doesn't hold up quite close enough to it, you don't really have to worry about that because we're going to fill any gaps with texture paint when we get to that part. Here we go. And now I'm just clearing up some of the glue that got in there. Now it's ready to have texture paint added to it. So for that, I'm just using Ground Texture Rough Gray Pumice. And I'm just going to use my texture spreader first to spread it all over it. And then when I've got it all spread to my liking, I'm going to switch over to an old throwaway brush, one that I don't particularly care if texture paint happens to dry in it, and clean it up so that it looks lovely, and set it aside to dry. The last thing I'm doing before we actually get started painting is priming this miniature, and I'm using Surface Primer Gloss Black by Vallejo to prime it. And I'm leaving it on its original base because I just find that easier to prime. So it's just going to go all over the miniature, that prime is, and I'm choosing the gloss black primer because it makes metals look more metal, I find. So yeah, it's just going all over until everything is coated. So now that is dry, I'm going to take this rock, just a regular old rock, and I'm going to start moving it around and squishing it into the stone just to give it a rocky effect. You don't necessarily have to do this if you want your stone to be more like formed out of, I guess, concrete and all that, but I want it to be a bit more rustic, I guess, and I'm just going to be doing that all over. Right, so how did I get into gaming? Well, I first got into gaming, I guess it was really role-playing, because when I was a kid, I had a D&D campaign I started when I was 7. That was really my only gaming experience, other than card games and board games, whichever, but Dungeons & Dragons was my first tabletop game, really, that was perhaps outside the norm of kid games. Went to a small community where I developed the accent that I have now, I think, and there was no source for me to get any sort of access to even Dungeons & Dragons. The community was too small, no stores or anything like that that would have had access to anything like Warhammer or Bolt Action or Flames of War protection. Is that even around then? But when I left school, when I graduated from high school and went to university in a bigger town, it had a university anyway. I was able to get back into gaming, and for when I wasn't studying for university, I decided to get into a game of Dungeons and Dragons again. Didn't know anyone in the university at the time, so came to a local game store that was doing Dungeons and Dragons sessions and joined in, and then I got my first experience being in the game store because it had everything. I was able to look at all the other different games that it had available. Now I'm going to use just a black primer, surface primer black by Vallejo, and I'm going to put that all over the model, and I'm just using an old dry brush just because it has a large surface area, and I am putting that all over. Okay, all done. Just gotta leave that to dry and wipe my hands. They're just a little bit covered. Okay, so while that one is continuing to dry, we just need to check out this one. As you can see, you can still see through her, but that's enough. Now, the metal that we're going to use is Balthasar Gold, I think. I also saw this brassy brass. That'd be nice too, but I think we're going to go ahead with Balthasar Gold. So I added some Balthasar to my palette, but I'm also going to use this metal medium. I just found the Vallejo one, anyone would do. And just a couple drops. And I'll mix that together and just start putting that on. Right, so as I was saying, when I was going to these D&D sessions, there were some people who were painting and assembling models in the D&D sessions. You know, when it wasn't their turn, they were building models, and these were Warhammer models. And that was of interest to me, as it was my first interaction with Warhammer models. Then I started working at the store because I needed some funds, and I enjoyed the stuff. I was not that experienced at the beginning, but yeah, I started working a little bit, and then learning the different products, and I hopped on a chance when someone went and wanted to get half of the Assault on Blackreach. Yeah, Assault on Blackreach was my first Warhammer piece. I wanted to try out the orcs because they seemed like they might be easy to paint, as I've never painted miniatures before, and someone wanted the... What is the other half of Assault on Blackreach? Space Marines? Tyranids? I don't remember. It's been so long. Anyway, I got the orcs part, clearly. I definitely did not know my stuff very much back then. And anyway, I got Assault on Blackreach, and I started assembling my first models, orcs, And I actually I found my first model, or it was my second model, first or second model that I'd ever assembled and painted. So I'm totally showing you a picture of that as soon as I find it. Right, I chose the orcs because I thought they would be easy to paint, because they, I'd seen all of their buildings and their kill cans and their truck, and it was like, well, they don't seem like they care that much about being good painters, so I shouldn't care that much either. It turns out I just spent way too long painting those orcs. Never did finish the army. And then, school got heavier, and so I didn't get a chance to play much. But I was learning a lot because I was now starting to work. And that taught me a lot, and I got to see other people playing, and I would pop in to do the rules every now and then. And then when I became more familiar with everything, I started playing more heavily. And so I got out my old orcs. Was with university and work, didn't have a lot of spare time. Oh my goodness. As I'm science degree, I was able to complete my behavioral neuroscience degree and also work enough to pay off my behavioral neuroscience degree. So I put in a lot of hours, got a manager position, and of course learned how to play a bunch of different games, Axes and Allies, and Flames of War, Magic Gathering, of course, Warhammer 40k. When Age of Sigmar came out, I became interested in that. I mean, the models were so gorgeous, and then I saw Sylvaneth, and it was like, okay. First I actually got into Sisters of Battle and started building a list, but I had no time to paint them, so some of them are still black. Yes, I assembled them, but they're still black, because I was going, I based them all black. Back before there was Wraithbone, I based them all Wraithbone now, but now they're all Chaos Black. Well, not all of them. I was successful at painting some of them. Would you like to see? Here's one of them that I painted. She was the first model that I painted for Sisters of Battle. Still fairly back in the day. Isn't she pretty? Well, I thought so, anyway. And then, I got into Age of Sigmar, and I absolutely adored the look of the Sylvaneth, so I built my Sylvaneth army. I also really enjoyed the elves with the trees. The elves that could go along with the Sylvaneth. But I have sprues for them, but I went with solely Sylvaneth after. But I have sprues for Sisters of the Watch and Sisters of the Thorn. Now with the Cities of Sigmar book out, I should put them together. I like the idea of finally using my Sisters of the Thorn and Sisters of the Watch, along with Stormcast Eternals and Sylvaneth. Because I could do that. As long as the book is as written, I can have one quarter Stormcast Eternals, one quarter Sylvaneth. That means I only need half my army to be Cities of Sigmar. If 520 points is one adorable little dwarf, fierce little dwarf, I don't actually need that much. Will that play well? I don't know. Am I gonna try it? Absolutely. And there was a time when I was playing lots of Flames of War. Axes and Allies, I tried pretty early on as well. We had Mondays were Axes and Allies, so it was a war game. Yeah, big war game, the 20th anniversary board game. And that was the Axes and Allies, and I had no idea about World War II back then. So I went with Russians. What do they have to do? They turtle and just build guys to win? Okay, I'll do that one. So whenever I was playing Axes and Allies, I basically played Russian. So when I branched into Flames of War, well, then I also got Russians. So I know the Russians armies pretty well. I also know the German army pretty well because I definitely faced a lot of Germans. And faced some US, so those are the ones that I know the most. So bolt action, as I'm getting into that, it's all the pieces are quite similar. They're just bigger, which is nice. I like painting bigger. Oh, there is one thing I was going to do. One thing that I'm excited to try. I'm going to try and give you guys some idea of how to get your girls into games too. Because I think that there are more girls who could like games than I. I mean, I was certainly hesitant. I mean, I loved Dungeons and Dragons, but I hadn't gone into any wargaming. I was certainly hesitant, but once you get into the world and you see all the sorts of different players and all the sorts of different pieces that you can play with and actually watch how a game unfolds, I think there's probably a game for everyone, girl or guy. And I have seen a lot of efforts go awry, guys trying to get their girls into games. So I'm trying to write up some tips for you guys who are having trouble getting your girls into games. And I'm going to post that when I've got all my thoughts down in a coherent way of speaking. Right, where are we to? I gotta get back to painting this. Alright, there she is with just one coat on it, waiting to dry. Yeah, that's the one coat. I think I'll probably have to put 2 coats on though. Alright. So I decided to do a second layer on. And now that this is all dry, let's put some gray, medium gray and a light gray. I'm choosing to go with the gray. It's going to be Ashen gray, Phoenician gray. So yeah, I'm just using a medium dry brush for this and just covering the entire model. That's too dark. Yeah, that's too dark. Alright, I'm going to add the Phoenician gray, so it's 2 parts dark gray and 1 part Phoenician gray. And let's try that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's much better. That's going all over. Pretty heavily dry brushed to get that on really nicely. We're going to add some white gray to the mix and bring that up a little bit more. Just mix that in. Bring up the color a bit. Yeah. Added some more white. This one's more towards the edges. And okay, now time to give her a cut. Yeah, I'm just cutting with knife very carefully. Thankfully, one of her feet is already removed. Just very carefully. Don't accidentally cut off her toes. Let's see. Okay, no, yeah. Alright, now I'm taking the hobby knife and I'm gonna cut carefully. Okay, no no cutting of fingers. Yeah. All right. And looks good. I didn't cut off her foot. Nope, we're good. All right. Now, okay, now I just need some glue. And I'm going to use just the regular PVA glue on her feet. Just dabbing it on. Dab, dab. And placing her very carefully here. Yeah. Alright. Just position them where I want her to be. And there should be good. There she's a bit tilted, so here. I'm still a bit tilted. There. And we'll leave that to dry. Alright, so now she is ready to go, and that's what she looks like. I think it turned out pretty well. Yeah. Oh, you know what we should do? We should write something on the bottom. Yeah. 10,000 subscribers. To commemorate. So there she is. Our celebration one. And yeah, we're gonna use these for Age of Sigmar markers. I use it for the inspiring one. Put a statue down there and you remember that the terrain feature right next to it is inspiring. I love doing these ones. Well, I hope you liked this video. Thank you for coming along with me all the way to 10,000 subscribers. And Melly's not good, she's just sick with the flu, and she'll be around at some point. Well, if you liked the video, give us a like, and if you want to let us know how you got into gaming, give us a comment below. How did you get into gaming? And thanks for watching. Bye!